Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's especially in fiction. It's like, well, listen, there's no, not to get political, but there's no politician in Washington D.C. right now that hasn't said something that they shouldn't. You mean to tell me that a book that somebody's trying to write to tell their story, whether it's a fiction story or a nonfiction story about their career, they can't talk about it, but these ding dong politicians over here can just run their mouth and say whatever they want to and say
Yeah.
some stupid things. But
Yeah.
we're whole, we're held to a higher standard. I get that, but at the same time, like, when does common sense prevail? And you know, just some dumb stuff. So I'm not surprised that they picked
Yeah.
some ridiculous things to redact. But it just makes me mad that there's no consistency in that review process.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I will say this, man. I know I am a very young, immature author compared to you. You know, you're a lot more seasoned. Your book's been out there a lot longer and things like that. But I'm at the point, Jeff, where I'm starting to get some feedback, whether it's through LinkedIn DMs or people sending me an email because I put my email at the end of the book and I was brave. I was just like, hey,
It's a
if
bold
you
move.
like the book or if you hated the book, please send me an email. So some people have reached out, but I'm at the point, because it's been a little over a month. We went live December 3rd. That's when it published. Last year. So it's been a little over a month that it's been out there, and I'm starting to get feedback. And man, it makes you feel so good
Yeah.
to get some feedback. And if you don't mind, I'd like to read like maybe just one or two. I just got
Yeah.
these yesterday.
Go for it.
This guy told me this, man. It really made me feel good because, man, you just don't know. I mean, you don't know if it's going to be well received or not. I'm not going to say the name, but um, he said, "Hey, I'm collecting my thoughts and going over the themes that stuck with me about the book. As an Air Force guy, we are often the brunt of jokes." And he put in parentheses, rightly so at times. And he said, "I really appreciate the fact that you went out of your way to vocalize how much of a sacrifice everyone in uniform makes, not just those that see combat or operators." Um, and he also said, "I also appreciate getting new reading material. I'm going to go buy Operator Syndrome. That list of symptoms hit pretty close to home, as I have and still do at times experience several of them." So this is just one person, and there's been a few others that have you know actually I was on another podcast and I was talking about the book, and there's a section in the book where it talks about some principles of the grit code, and one of them is adopt a no surrender mindset. Don't quit, keep going. And they wrote me a note and said, hey, someone listened to our podcast, and they sent us a message and they said, hey, I was listening to you guys talk to Darrell, and he was talking about don't quit, keep going, stay in the fight.
Yep.
And I was having a bad weekend, and just hearing him say that really kind of like reinforced, to keep chugging along, keep fighting. And I really appreciate that you guys had him on and you guys talked about that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm still new at this, but I'm starting to get this feedback, and it really makes my heart feel good that, yes, there's some badass stories in there about 2006. And that time period was significant to me because that's when, the Iraq Civil War ignited during that time period. So there are some badass stories, but there's a lot of humanity. And then there's a lot of, especially for our community, that guys and gals out there that need help, and trying
Yes.
to say like, hey, it takes a lot of fucking courage to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm not doing so well. I need a little bit of help. Will you
Yep.
please help me? Like, that takes a lot of courage, bro.
It does.
And trying to just help people, hey, it's okay to do that, man. It's okay. Like, don't you remember being that guy? And it's like, hey, we're troops in contact. Give me some help, man. Give me some assets. Give me what you got. Let's do this
Yeah.
thing.
You've asked
We're
for help before.
Yeah, we've done it before,
You've done
man,
it.
and we don't fight fair. And it's like we all of a sudden we leave the military, and it's like, hey, I'm just gonna try to do this thing by myself. Like, man, there's still a great network out there of folks that are willing to chip in and help out. Sometimes we just got to ask for it. So it really makes me feel good that, uh, some of the messages, and some of the, you know, just trying to encourage folks to maybe reach out and get some help, that it's actually helping people. That makes my heart really feel good, man.
Well, and remember those moments when you do get that eventual negative one, because somebody's going to have something negative to say.
Good advice. Thank you.
Don't let it crush you. It's just some asshole, who
Thank you.
got his book late, or the page was bent, or his wife was yelling at him that day, or he had a shitty day at work or something like that. It's not you. So like, when you get that first comment, and you will at some point in time, you will. We all have. I
Because
get
I haven't
comments
got
on
mine yet. So thanks for telling me
yeah,
this. I haven't
yeah.
got mine yet.
I've gotten people that have commented on YouTube videos and said stupid stuff, and I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like,